are you waiting for permission? And I think this is
I'm
it
always waiting for permission.
for me, right?
Yeah.
This is a great topic heading into the new year. I think, we always try to do some kind of big life focused stuff, at least a little bit here in January. And,
Right.
it's so easy to get caught up in the details, right? Of
Like
the
you're getting a divorce, you need to work on your abs.
like that. It,
Yeah.
it's easy to get stuck in the minutia of the all the custody and the struggles and the your divorce case and just all the different things going on that sometimes we lose sight of our life. And so this episode is really about kind of taking a step back and taking inventory of your own self and where you're at and what you want this to look like long term. I read a lot of self-help and personal development. I think this time of year there's always a lot of it available. Yeah, I think what happens is, like I said, sometimes we get so caught up in the day to day, especially if you are struggling with custody issues, which is a lot of what Thomas and I deal with in both our coaching and his law practice. A lot of custody stuff. It's kind of our wheelhouse. We've been doing co-parenting on a personal level for 17 or 18 years now. And, for both of us, our children are the most important thing in our lives, which I think is true of the vast majority of parents. And so it's real easy to get caught up in the arguments with the ex and the stress of trying to get everybody where they need to go. And, a lot of times you're working at the same time and, what are we having for dinner tonight? And all the
Right.
day-to-day stuff that the days just turn into weeks, turn into months. I think that for a lot of us, and I think especially, I mean, I'll say especially women. I don't know if this is true for men because I'm not a man. I'm a man. I'm certainly not saying that it can't be true for a man. But I think in a lot of ways, um, we're told to put everybody else first. I mean, I think as a
Right,
mom,
right. I know what you're saying.
as a mom, especially, or a wife or whatever, you're told that everybody else should come first. Well, if you don't sacrifice this for your child, if you don't, work two jobs if you need to, if you don't, give them the last cookie in the jar, if you don't sacrifice your massage to take them to ball practice, whatever the thing is, if you don't do these things, you're a bad parent. And
Yeah. Well, I
I,
think that's true. I think a lot of guys feel that way.
yeah, I think a
A
lot of
lot a lot a
parents,
lot of guys feel like their job in the marriage, uh, at least guys with my value system,
right.
that guys want to sacrifice. They feel that their duty is to go to a job and work until they're exhausted, and then come home and never do anything fun, just so that everybody has the things that they like.
I think what happens is a lot of times it's not just the people around us, like, to me this sort of contributes to divorce a little bit
Yeah.
because it's like you feel like you have to ask permission, but you're afraid that you're going to have this argument, so you avoid it, and then you feel resentful. And again, I can only speak for the dynamic for me, and I've had this experience
Mhm.
with a lot of women. Is then you start feeling resentful, and then that builds up, and then you have this resentment that comes out usually in the form of anger, sometimes in the form of withdrawal, whatever, with your spouse. And it's really because it's not really anything they did. It's
Yeah.
it's you, anticipating their reaction and
Right.
being afraid to do what you want to do.
So you'd rather have an empty tank, so to speak, like an
Right.
empty emotional tank, and
Right.
and 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 avoid conflict.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's how they always tell you, on the airplane, put your mask on first. I mean, this is a form of that. If you aren't in a good space and you're not able to give to others around you without depleting yourself, those relationships aren't going to last.
Right, right. Yeah, and I mean, sometimes I really need that surf. I
Right.
I there are times when I really need it, because I don't know what it is, but it makes me feel healthy. It makes my breath feel better. It makes my shoulders feel better. I have this kind of healthy, tired feeling that's a very nice feeling. It helps me sleep.
And
And
I'm not always happy when you go surf.
no, you're not. You're never happy.
Right. Well,
You,
sometimes. Sometimes I'm like, shoo,
yeah,
go.
that's right. Get the hell out of here. I got work to do.
Yeah.
You leave me alone.
Yeah. It's interesting because these are patterns that you develop and they become really hard to overcome this feeling of needing to ask for permission, to be able to live the life that you want to live. It's,
Right. And
you're
then sitting out in the water and feeling guilty.
right. And then you're not even enjoying the surf
That's
while you're
right.
there because you
It
feel guilty.
ruins my surf
It
session
does.
to feel guilty about it.
It
Yes, it
does.
does.
It really does. And, your life's not a dress rehearsal. This is the only one you have. And so if you don't do what you want to do, and I'm not saying that there shouldn't be any consideration for the other people in your life, but I'm saying that if you can't give that consideration without feeling resentful or deprived or upset in some way, then there's a problem with it.
Yeah.
And it is a pattern that's developed over time. And you just sort of get in this default mode where you're doing that and you don't even realize it.
You mean even with an ex? Even with like,
Okay, so I'll give you an example.
all right.
All right. So Thomas and I went to the store on New Year's Eve. Okay. And we sort of okay, so my oldest son and my daughter-in-law and my 1-year-old grandson are here visiting. And we went to Thomas and I went to the store. I originally hadn't really planned anything for New Year's Eve. I knew that my son and daughter-in-law were going over to her parents for a little while, and then they were going to come back. And I just thought it was kind of casual. We were just going to hang out, watch TV, whatever. And I have this history in the family of having done really good
Extravagant New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve
Yeah.
parties.
She does. I
right?
love Tammy's New Year's Eve party.
Right, to the point to where the years we don't have Thomas,
And we don't even drink. That's the funny thing
no,
about it.
there sometimes there's some champagne at midnight, but most of the time, no, not really.
Yeah.
And so Thomas's kids, a lot of times who are 18 and 19 now, but they used to call over the years and be like, "Oh, can we come over?" Even though it wasn't our year for New Year's, they'd say, "Mom said it's okay. Can we come for New Year's because we want to be there for the party?"
Yeah, because we had a blast.
Right. And so we do things like, I have a chocolate fountain and we do a silly string war at midnight. And,
That's
we,
a lot better than fireworks.
yeah, we play games and, do all that kind of thing.
Although it's hard to get off the ceiling and the wall sometimes.
The silly string is hard to recover. We still have silly string on certain parts of the ceiling we can't reach. But anyway, so I do these, New Year's Eve things. And so this year I really hadn't planned any of that because it was just Thomas's kids weren't here and we just had, my son and daughter-in-law who are, 30-ish. And so I just thought it was going to be low key. And so my son was kind of like, did you get stuff for the chocolate fountain? Did you get silly string? And I'm like, dude, you're 30. And he's like, yeah, but I have my 1-year-old son and I want him to start getting into the tradition of
Yeah.
and I'm like, he's one. He's not going to remember. And he's like, and so anyway, so, I felt a little bit of mom guilt, I guess, for not, doing my traditional things that I had done. And we always have a blast. I never begrudge, doing that work. It's a lot of fun. So anyway, Thomas and I go to the store because I had not planned for any of this. So suddenly I'm like, holy cow, my son wants a New Year's Eve celebration. So we go to the store and we got very, very lucky. I pretty much had a one-stop shop going to Walmart and we got
That was a good shopping
it
trip.
was. I found
They had cowboy cookies.
you like their cowboy cookies. Yeah, they're decadent cowboy cookies.
Yeah.
And, like chocolate for the chocolate fountain, not always easy to find the melting chocolate. They had it. And a couple of the games we wanted to play, we needed string and ping pong balls and all these different things. And we literally found everything that we were looking for pretty much at Walmart. So it was a quick and it was a fairly easy trip. I won't say it was really quick because all of the a couple of the things that we wanted that were sort of just like household items that we needed were under lock and key from all the theft problems that they've had. So one of our biggest time sucks was that we had to sit and wait probably about 30 minutes
For Joe.
for Joe to come and open.
Joe is apparently the only person in Walmart in Oceanside that has a key to the case where the eye drops are.
Yes, eye drops are under lock and key. A $10 box of eye drop, which is okay. So whatever. So we waited a long time for Joe, who we finally found. But anyway, so that delayed our trip a little bit and made it last a little bit longer than it would have. But while we're in there, I said to Thomas, I said, when we first started the trip, I said, I'm suddenly overcome with this knot in the pit of my stomach. And he said, why? And I said, because I feel like you're going to get angry if this takes too long. Or because, all right, so let's give a little background on that. I tend to be kind of a perfectionist, right? And so if I want
That's why she married me.
if I want melting chocolate of this certain brand, that's the brand that we're finding. And we're going to scour every aisle until we find it, or we'll have to go to another store.
The plain wrap will not do.
Yeah. And so I just have certain little quirks like that where I want what I want, and I that's
again why you married me.
Yes. and so I'm not waiting for permission on certain things. I just want what I want. And so I had this fear that he was going to get upset with my perfectionism on, New Year's Eve when we're already running late, getting back home. And, we didn't really want to be out driving, doing whatever. And so I had to really step back from that for a minute and go, why? Why am I feeling so stressed about this? Because in reality,
from years of conditioning.
And I will tell you that Thomas is fairly patient in that particular regard. He's got other areas where he's not as patient.
I knew you were going to say that.
But in that particular regard, he's usually pretty patient with me. And so really, I had no reason to really think that he has no history that would lend me to believe that he would suddenly become frustrated with me on New Year's Eve when we, if we have somewhere to be or something like that, it's different. But in this particular case, we didn't have anywhere to be, obviously, except home. And so I said to him, I don't know why, but I just have this horrible fear that you're going to get angry with me. And he said, why would I do that? And I was like, I don't know. And it clicked. And I thought, you know what? This is what my ex-husband would do. He would get really frustrated. If I was gone too long to the store, why were you gone so long? Oh, you must have been out with another guy. Well, why are you, why do you have to have, this? I mean, honestly, he wouldn't have even gone with me to Walmart. He would have just been like, okay, I'll be here waiting, watching football. You go get the stuff, whatever. And he wouldn't have even gone with me. And so, but you and I have been married for this year will be 14 years. Right. So this isn't anything from stuff that's happened recently. This is like, you would think 14 years later, I've moved on. I'm done. I'm over the stuff with my ex and the divorce and the whatever, and certain pieces of it I am, but certain parts of that conditioning caused me to go, uh-oh, am I going to be in, I have this feeling of, am I going to be in trouble?
And it spoiled your fun.
Right.
Because it's fun to go to Walmart.
Sometimes.
No, it is.
With you, it can be. Costco's the most fun place with you, though.
Yeah.
I love going to Costco with you. We have some good Costco stories.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of what I'm talking about is, it's like we get this idea in our head that because something makes us feel guilty or makes us feel in some kind of negative emotion, that we're doing something wrong or that we shouldn't be doing it.
Right.
Even like things like just, one of my kids, will occasionally like have some issue with their dad where they go, well, I asked him to do this and he didn't want to do it. And I feel bad if I don't, do things the way he wants me to do, and the thing I always say to him is like, okay, but you feeling bad about not doing what he wants you to do is your issue. It's not your dad's issue. If you don't want to do that thing, tell your dad you don't want to do that thing.
Right.
that's drawing your boundary and not asking for permission.
Right. And
But
if you want somebody to converse, if you want somebody to do something, you make it sound awesome and not, oh,
yeah,
you never hang out with me. And
yeah, yeah.
you
I
know,
don't
like,
want you to go surfing. You need to stay here. Why aren't you worried about taking care of me? Why are you? Yeah, it's true. And then they go, "Oh yeah, let me stay home from
yeah, that
surfing
sounds
and
like
deal with
fun.
you." Yeah,
That's right. We'll
good
just
time.
we'll sit down and be miserable together.
Yeah.
We'll grow in number, fueled by them to see the horizon, turn us to thousands.